Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the major job mistakes to avoid when you are job searching. Hello everyone and welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Reda Olabisi. For the first time, I would need you to smash that subscribe button again. It really helps my channel to grow. I know that there are a couple of mistakes that people make and they're probably never aware of, to be honest, and I think it makes sense for me to just highlight some of those mistakes. So the first mistake that you need to avoid when you are actively looking for a new job is that you need to make sure you tailor your resume to the job opening, right? I think that more often than not, what we find, especially with entry-level candidates, is that they're just applying here and there, left and right. Any opening they see, they apply. Someone says an opening to them to just apply, they submit their CVs. And what happens is that usually they get rejected because they've not taken the time out to read the job description, they've not taken time out to research the company, they've not taken time out to speak to employees in that company that they're applying to. So what you need to do is, for example, if you're applying for a sales role, right, and you've worked in, say, customer care, for example, and you want to apply for that sales role, what you need to do is you need to go online, research for the job descriptions of a sales executive, and just make sure that whatever you're putting in your CV, your experience in customer care or customer service or customer experience, just make sure that you tailor it to that sales role, right? Just make sure that you tailor your CV such that you are able to highlight the transferable skills that you've been able to develop as a result of your experience in that customer care or customer service role, even though you're applying for a sales role. Just take your time, read the job description, research the company, speak to employees that work in that company. Just research. So sometimes you see people applying for an entry level role with 2-page CV and you're wondering why is your CV 2 pages. So what I find is that when I look at people's CVs for them or just reviewing it for them, right, I see that I just have to tell them, take this out. Just make sure that the things that you leave on your CV, they are relevant and significant to the role they are applying for. Tailor it, that's what it means. So the second mistake you need to avoid is you need to stop neglecting your online presence, specifically LinkedIn, right? So let's say, for example, if I go on LinkedIn and I ask you, okay, what's your name, and I just want to check your LinkedIn profile, it's not optimized, you did not properly fill it out, it's not properly formatted, everything just looks somehow, it really doesn't communicate anything to me, right? But if you were to go on LinkedIn and check for Reda, you see things like my experience, you see where I've worked, you see my volunteering experience, you see the skills that I have developed as a result of my experience, you see my education experience, you see my headline is properly written, you see my summary is properly written. Just make sure that as a job seeker, you need to have a LinkedIn profile. I cannot overemphasize the importance of having a LinkedIn profile. That is how you can connect with potential recruiters. That is how you can speak to employees that work in companies that you are looking to apply to. It's just good for you as a job seeker to have a LinkedIn profile. So make sure you have a LinkedIn profile, and having a LinkedIn profile is not enough. You need to make sure that it is optimized as well. It is properly filled out, everything is properly written. You also take a professional picture, right? So now you don't necessarily have to go for a photo shoot and wear a suit and then stand like this. You can just take a selfie. Just make sure that your selfie is not from this angle. Just put it in your front, smile, wear proper clothing, and crop it out if you need to and post that on your LinkedIn. Just make sure that everything is properly optimized. And I have a video on how to properly optimize your LinkedIn to get recruiters in your DM. I'm going to attach the video up here so you can watch it when you're done with this one, right? So your LinkedIn, very important. Something that you need to stop doing in terms of when you're applying for jobs is you need to stop applying for jobs without doing your proper research. Just make sure you go on LinkedIn, go to their official page and look at the posts that they've made in the past 2 to 3 months, just so you have an idea of the things that is going on within the company. So let's say, for example, they ask you why this company, you can give an informed answer because you've actually taken out the time to research the company. So let's say, for example, the company won an award as employer of the year, right? If they tell you why do you want to work for this company, you can say, oh, you've noticed that in the past 3 years that you noticed that this company has been nominated as employer of the year, and I think that it's very important for me that I work for an employer that actually cares about me within and outside of work. It's very important that I work for an employer that actually doesn't see me as a head count, etc, things like that. Or it could be that, oh, you saw that they did a project where they went for a beach cleanup. You could talk about the fact that, oh, you like to give back to your community, that you like to work for people that contribute to the sustainable development of the environment, things like that. But you wouldn't know these things if you've not actually gone online to search for the things that they are posting about on their LinkedIn. You don't know the awards they've won, you don't know what interests the company as an entity, right? So make sure you've done your research. You can also speak to people on LinkedIn. I keep on coming back to this LinkedIn because it's such an important tool for you as a job seeker. You can go on LinkedIn and reach out to someone who is working within the company. You can speak about or ask them questions around what should I prepare for, what kind of questions should I expect in my interview, how many rounds of interview do I need to do, what do I need to pay attention to, things like that. Just do your research. And researching does increase your chances of actually getting shortlisted, and also increases your chances of actually getting the role eventually. So first point I have to talk about is networking. I know that you've heard this over and over again, and it cannot be overemphasized. The reason why you keep hearing it is that you'll be surprised where you could get your opportunity from, to be honest. It could just be on social media, for example, and you see someone will just reach out to you that, oh, they've seen your profile, they think that you'll be a good fit for this role. You'll be surprised. So I feel like LinkedIn is the most accessible way for you to network as a job seeker or as a professional, right? So what you can do is, when you see people's posts on LinkedIn, you can drop a comment, a meaningful comment on their posts, right? Or what you can do also is that you can send cold emails to people via LinkedIn, right? You can send them that, oh, you saw that they are working at this company and you're interested in this company because of this and that. And you'll be surprised that recruiters shortlist people for interviews just through cold messages. I have a video on how to cold message recruiters on LinkedIn. I'm also going to attach the video up here so you can also watch it as well, so you know how to go about cold messaging people. Sometimes when recruiters don't put out ads when they are recruiting because they already have talent in their pipeline, but when you send a cold message and they look at your LinkedIn profile and they're like, this person could be a good fit for the role, and you get shortlisted for the interview. But you would not get those opportunities if you're not networking on LinkedIn, if you're not connecting with recruiters, if you're not connecting with potential colleagues and just things like that, right? So make sure that you actively network with people on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is very accessible. It's just on your phone. You can click away, connect with people and network with them. Last and the fifth tip is make sure that you're not going for interviews that you did not prepare for, right? Make sure that you have a technique to answer questions. So let's say, for example, situational based questions, right? The way I answer situational based questions, I use the STAR method. That's situation, task, action and results, right? That's the approach I use when I'm answering situational based questions. Let's say, for example, an interviewer asks me that, tell me about a time when you had difficulty managing your supervisor. I don't necessarily need to have experienced that, but because I have a method or a technique to answer that question, I can give you something creative in that moment or in that instance. I can tell you, okay, there was this time when I was working for this particular company and I had a manager who did not give me occasional feedback, right? That's the situation. That's you talk about. So you were usually working and you don't necessarily know how you were doing on the job because your manager wasn't giving you feedback. Action is, what did you do to solve that problem? You said, oh, then I booked a chat with my manager and I communicated that I would appreciate if I was giving regular and occasional feedback. And R, you talk about the results, what happened as a result of the action that you took. Then you can say, oh, then you noticed that in the following month that your manager was more proactive in terms of giving you feedback on the work that you've given to them and things like that. So I feel like no matter where you can bring that question from, especially situational based question, I will always have a response for you because I already have a technique to answering them, right? And when you have a technique and a method, it helps you to avoid things like saying you don't know, or it helps you to just articulate your thoughts and communicate very confidently. So I feel like most of my points are really overlapping, so just to highlight the things that you need to stop doing in terms of your job seeking is, number one, you need to make sure that you always tailor your resume to the job you're applying to. Very, very important. Number two, make sure you stop neglecting your online presence. Have a LinkedIn account and have it properly optimized. Number three, make sure that you are networking. Very important, cannot be overemphasized. Number four, make sure that you are doing proper research before you apply for a job and when you are going for your interviews. Number five, make sure that you are properly prepared for an interview before you go for one. So that is basically a recap of what I've been explaining in this video so far. So that has brought us to the end of today's video. Do not forget, if you have any questions at all, drop them in the comment section. I always respond to each and every one of my comments, and also drop suggestions on the types of videos that you like to see on this channel. It's very important that I am meeting your needs as my subscribers, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.